Welcome to 10 Things I Wish I Knew About Digital Art Before Starting Digital Art. First one that I used to find infuriating. You open up a new document, background layer is locked. You make a new layer. You make a new layer, but you've selected this one by accident. And you're there drawing away. And you've got a nice drawing of a thing. What is this? It's an apple. Yeah. You've got a cool drawing of an apple and then you realise you've drawn it on the wrong layer. How I get around this, whenever I start a new document, instantly I go over here, remove this little lockbox because it lies. I always make it grey because white hurts my eyes. And then I lock it. And now you can't do anything with it. You're safe. Make a new layer and create your masterpiece. Number 2, use masks, not erasers. Erasers are so destructive whenever you're trying out new things. If I wanted to create this gap here, I used to use an eraser and then I'd realize actually I don't like that. So I'd have to go back and draw it back in again. Don't do that. Just use a mask. Here. Have black. Go over it. Oh no, you don't like it. Go to white and just put it back. Easy. Don't use erasers. Okay, so this one is how to colour in line art without just sitting there with the brush tool. So what I would do before is I would create a layer underneath my line art, pick the colour I wanted, and then just sit here and colour it in. It's quite therapeutic, but it wastes so much time. We find the line art layer, which is this one. Get your magic wand. Select inside of where you want to colour in, but you notice it's just got this little gap around. So if you were then to make a layer underneath it and fill that in, it's going to look horrible, right? We select it, we go select, modify, expand. You have to try it out because obviously everybody's line art is a different size. Let's say 2 pixels. And you keep expanding it until the line art the selection is just inside the line art. That looks okay. Make a new layer. Make a new layer underneath. Fill that bad boy in. And then you can just go around with your brush and then just tidy up any areas that it's missed. Okay, done. Now, imagine you've been sitting here drawing for hours and then the power goes out or your computer crashes and then you cry. So what we do is we autosave. Photoshop's got this really, really cool feature. It is Edit, Preferences, File Handling. And make sure this box here is ticked. Automatically save recovery information every X amount of minutes. I've got it set to 10 minutes, but you could do 5, 15, 30 or an hour. And then if this is ticked and the power goes out or your PC crashes or Photoshop does a little hissy fit and just closes, you've only ever lost up to 10 minutes of work. It will then, when you open it, it should then aim to recover that information back and then you've just lost a bit of time. You can just make that back up again. Okay, this is a really handy one if you spend a lot of time, like I do, close in like this. You'll be drawing away, but you haven't stepped back to look at the bigger picture. You might then realize that proportions are off, or you want to keep on zooming in and out, in and out, in and out. So what we do, window, arrange, new window, and it will also have whatever your file name is. And this new one will pop up just here. So we bring it out. If you've got 2 monitors, you can put it on the other screen. If you've just got one, you can just have it next to it, make it a bit smaller maybe. And now when you click back onto this one, whatever you do on this screen, let's make it a color. will show up here. So if you're zoomed in and you're busy doing something down here, it will show up on this one exactly the same. So you can always see the bigger picture from another window. If, like me, you work with like a million different layers and subfolders and all this lot, and then you end up seeing you've got this little annoying dot and you can't find where it is, you might have to go through each one until you eventually find where it is. Now, Photoshop 2020 has got this really handy tool where if you just click on an area, it will select the layer that is in, but the older versions don't have that. So what you could do is you zoom into it, you right click it, and it will tell you the layers that it's most likely to be on. So it could be on the background layer, it could be on the Wickerman layer, which is here, and there it is. Have you ever drawn something and then thought, I really want to change the color of that? I used to just get my paint bucket tool and just click it and then change the color of it like this. And it's all well and good, it does do it, but if you look in, you get this like jaggedy, messy, pixely edge, which you didn't have before. So we've got two options here. One, with the layer selected that you want to change the color of, if we press this little checkerboard here, it sort of masks it. So if we select that, get our brush tool or a paint bucket tool, and we just draw, only that will get affected. Everything on that layer will then get affected. But it's not like a layer mask. You can't disable it and re-enable it. You have now changed the color. It's done. The only way to undo it is to either press the undo button, obviously, or get the color back and just go back over it. That's the semi-destructive way. The other way, which is not destructive, is we make a new layer over the color layer that we want to change. Alt click in between them like this, and you'll see it like skip over. Now what that's going to do is it's going to affect the layer underneath it. If we now use the paint dropper tool, paint bucket tool, and then we'll change it to pink, and you drop the ink on, everything that's in this layer has now turned pink, but it's not permanently changed. It's just like a layer over it, masked over. And you can actually move this around. You can see the corner of it because it's just filled in that screen. If you then want to apply it, just merge them together with Control E, and everything on that layer is now pink. You can't get the yellow back unless you undo it. When you're doing a semi-big drawing, try and not focus on the really, really small details that no one's going to see. Now this is going to be printed as a colouring book that'll be about as tall as an A4 book. It'll be square, but it'll be about as tall as an A4 book, so it'll be fairly big. So you're going to see details like this, but when you're in close to things like this, it's so easy to get caught up in adding like texture to the wood and making everything, like doing the little shades and making it look really, really cool. Like, you know, it's going to look awesome when you're up close and personal with it. And you could spend ages. You could be putting little tiny details like, I don't know, I was here. But then when you zoom out, you're going to lose all that detail and it's just going to end up looking a bit blobbish. So try and keep zooming out, looking at where you are, or as I showed you earlier on, have this extra window open so that you can see it from like a step back. But try and not focus on those small details too much, the ones that you aren't really going to see. Still add detail, but not the ones that you aren't really going to see. Okay, next, so it's refine, refine, refine. So try and not go straight into a drawing with a hard brush and going straight in for that smooth line art. I mean, eventually we will definitely get there, but you're going to want to focus on refining everything first. So start with your rough sketch with your soft, largish brush. Get the rough shape that you want. Once we've got that rough shape, you can get the eraser or a mask, and then just chip away at it until it's a bit thinner and you've got sort of some rough details. Then we can make a new layer on top. Then we can get that same brush, make it smaller, higher opacity, and start drawing over it again, just refining that line that you want, just showing the shape that you want to build. And when you've got a shape that you're really, really happy with, then we can then start on the line work. But keep refining what you've got, don't go straight in for that detail. Okay, and finally we have this awesome tool, this spot healing brush. So the spot healing brush is similar to the clone tool. What the clone stamp does is it literally does exactly what it says. You alt click on an area that you want to clone, and when you draw here, it will literally copy everything. See that X? It will copy everything that's going on there. It is just copying everything that it sees. Now it's handy for if you want to, I don't know, get rid of this little imperfection here. We can use the clone stamp. We'll select a bit of wood that we prefer, and we'll just go over it like that. It's selecting the wood that's here, or wherever I've told it to go from. We might have told it to go from here. But it's doing exactly what you say. What the spot healing brush does is you don't have to select anything. It looks at everything around the area that you paint, and it decides on what it thinks is best to go there. So to get rid of this, go a bit closer, get a spot healing brush. If we brush over it, it'll be black. Once you let go, it'll vanish, and you won't. It's often hard to see that what was even there. It's looked at everything around it and decided, I know what's best to go here, and it'll sort of fill in the blanks. Okay, so if we go up here, say we want to get rid of this copper bag because I didn't want to get sued by them. We'll get our spot healing brush and we'll just go over it, and it will decide what it thinks is best to go there. It's not always right. It gets it wrong sometimes. We can just do little bits at a time. Fix that a little bit. When I was finished with it, this is what it looked like in the end. Now you can see there's lots of like repeating bits and bobs, but at first glance you probably wouldn't notice. So hopefully this video helped a little bit with random things that I've learned over the years. If you like this video and want to help me out, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. And consider joining my Patreon, where I'll be uploading more tutorial videos. You'll be able to get art prints, wallpapers, you'll be able to see behind the scenes, and more stuff like that. So hopefully I'll see you the next time. But until then, bye!